Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus entered the synagogue. There was a man there who had a withered hand. They watched Jesus closely to see if he would cure him on the Sabbath so that they might accuse him. He said to the man with the withered hand, "Come up here before us." Then he said to the Pharisees, "Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath rather than to do evil, to save life rather than to destroy it?" But they remained silent, looking around at them with anger, and grieved at their hardness of heart. Jesus said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was restored. The Pharisees went out and immediately took counsel with the Herodians against him to put him to death. The Gospel of the Lord. Two things that are in these scriptures common to both David and this man with the withered hand. They both took initiative. He stretched out his hand. David stepped forward. He literally stepped into the path of the Philistine. He volunteered to take action and initiative. And in the case of the man with the withered hand, when Jesus said, "Stretch out your hand," he stretched out his hand. All you see, all these here are what I would say is are acts of faith. And I want to point out, especially with King David here, some writing concerning the proposed apparitions in Medjugorje. It is said that the Blessed Mother likened 5 things to the 5 stones of David that are akin to acts of faith. And the 5 things are this: prayer of the heart. In other words, I'm going to pray from my heart, not just recite prayers, but I want to pray and really open myself up to God when I pray. And then there was the rosary, and then reconciliation, the Eucharist, and specifically the Eucharist at the Mass, and fasting. These 5 things were understood as the 5 stones, and they were used as acts of faith. And so in the case of David and in the case of stretching out the hand, the sling, all that, and the stretching out the hand, these things are not what cured the man with the hand, and they're not what conquered Goliath, but what they were was acts of placing myself at the disposal of the Lord and letting him act, you see. And David says it himself. He says that the people of Israel are going to come to know that it's God who fights the battles. It's God who does this. And so there's something to be said here for all of us in our... Is it possible that we all have a Goliath in our life, or a few of them? Things that we have difficulty with. It could be an addiction. It could be a sense of pride. It could be any number of things. It could be a person that we're struggling with, and that's probably the most common one. In all these cases, we do what David and this man with the withered hand does. It's in these 5 stones. It's in the prayer and the rosary and confession and Eucharist and fasting. It's there that we dispose ourselves to the grace of the one who can vanquish Goliath, not us. We are incapable. And so it's in these things that we place ourselves at his disposal. We stretch out our hand as an act of faith, and now we are open to receive the grace that indeed saves us and acts for us.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquae meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit,